All right, let's do some curly hair this time. Sharpen up the pencil. I'm making this a nice loose curl so that we can see the structure of it, but we can make that a tighter curl later. All right, so it's very similar, but to the straight hair, how we were just making strokes, but now they're going to be curved lines, and then switch the direction. So curly hair is a little bit more challenging, so I put this outline on canvas for you so you can copy that. This, I think, would be the hard part for some of us. It's just a one strand. This isn't even the whole head. Let me move that over so you can see it. Oops. Okay. Just making this S shape. This alone is kind of hard to make. Zoom in. There we go. Now I'm going to do the next part, which is some diagonal lines coming off of this, about halfway up there, and then the next curve is going to start. Just try to keep up with me, but you could just be sitting at home watching this right now. And then do it on your own pace. So it took me a while just to get this little outline of the curves of the hair. Now, I'm not going to outline it heavy everywhere because some parts are lighter and I don't want to have a heavy, bold outline going around everything because that will take away from the realism of it, because things aren't outlined in heavy darkness. So I'm going to start off with adding in some just gray tones. I always start at the top. You can totally start in the middle. You can start down here. These ones are straighter lines, so you might be more comfortable with that. But as it hits this curve, things will be different. So I'm gonna go with the flow here. We don't want to really focus on seeing every strand of hair. So this feathering technique isn't to show every strand of hair. It's just a way to apply the pencil to the paper to get some highlights and shadows. So I'm not pressing down with the same pressure everywhere, and I'm rotating my pencil as I go to give me some sharp details. It's going to be a little bit darker as it hits this line that's overlapping it. A little bit darker there in the middle. But this part is a curve, the inside of it, so this part will be darker eventually. But I don't like to just focus on one part at a time. I like to give the whole parts that I'm drawing to the same amount of attention and then continue on. So these lines are a little bit different. They're curved, going from along the side. And flicking it backwards. I'm going to leave it blank here. Yes?
You didn't come drop my art supplies off, did you?
No, I did not. I was going to do that today.
Oh, okay. No, because I didn't look and, like, don't feel like going upstairs to look.
Okay.
They're just out there on the porch, just sitting there.
Just sitting there. Yeah, I'll bring them by after school today.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. So from this top corner that I'm working at, I'm doing those curved lines as well, curving towards this middle, swooping. I'm going to leave that one alone for a while, and I'm going to move down below to the next curve, starting at the point of this S curve, adding in my shadows. Little curved strokes, feathering, going at different lengths. They're not all stopping at the same point. Some of them have a heavier pressure, some of them are lighter. Fixing up this line that I done goofed earlier, smoothing that out. Now I'm working on the corners again, making this curve to the left for me, going inwards towards the middle. It's echoing the curve that it has on the edge here. The edge of the hair, rather. Now I'm going to work on the bottom. Going to be very light towards the tip. Curving upwards, letting it fade. It's pretty light at the bottom. Again, if you go too dark, you can always add your eraser, just the corner, touching down. But this part will be darker, where it's coming out from underneath the curve, right here. So I have some grays and I have some lights, and I'm going to take my 6B pencil. I'm going to add in where I think there's going to be more shadows, and where I was pointing those out before is where the hair folds over and on top of itself on the helix of the curl. I'm not filling it all in dark. I'm mostly doing small triangular shapes. I'm going to have some hair coming down and make it fade out at the end so it doesn't just look like I chopped it off right there. Having some strands come out of that. And you can have some strands coming off of the curl itself. This isn't a perfect curl. You can have some randos sticking out. So you can look at the reference image that I posted on our assignment and copy where you see the highlights and the shadows. That's really been the trick that we've been having to use all along, like when we were doing lips, finding the shadows and the highlights. So this looks a lot better when I add the darkness along the curves of the curl. And again, they're just scattered in between there. It's not a whole pitch dark area. It just has some areas that are dark. I think people say that hair is difficult because of all the time it takes when you're adding in the lines. You don't want to have to add all those. We've got cheater ways. We don't have to always add all this hair, these strokes in, these strands. But gosh, it looks better when we do feathering like this. From that fold, I'm adding in the dark lines and sections. I think it's very peaceful to just look at a picture and draw shadows and highlights, but you might be absolutely frustrated right now. This isn't my first time doing this. It's my first time doing it today. I feel pretty out of it. So I'm understanding if some of you are feeling out of it too. We're doing our best. We're just getting warmed up. Takes a lot of practice to get good at these strokes. Even just drawing lines can be difficult to learn and get good at. Okay, I feel like that's pretty complete. Doesn't suck. Way to go, me. I think I was recording this. Let's see.